Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our first Q&A for this week, leading up to the second episode for The Walking Dead Season 8, The Damned. In this one first, we're going to give our thoughts on what is possibly a very, very important scene from The Walking Dead Season 8 premiere, where Michonne sort of tongue-in-cheek confirms that this really is Carl's show.
But I'll help you defend this place.
Help me?
Oh, yeah. This is your show. Okay. We'll see.
And spoiler warning, of course, if you guys have not seen the premiere episode for The Walking Dead Season 8 yet. So there's just so much stuff packed into it that I didn't really get into this one much in the review last night. But if you guys have not seen my review for the episode, I will have the link in the end screen videos for you guys here. So you can go ahead and check that out, as well as my reaction to the episode. We did one earlier where we explained the Red-Eyed Rick scenes, or at least give our predictions and thoughts on what we think that means. And yeah, so lots of videos on the channel. If you guys haven't seen them after you're done watching this one, use the end screens, or click the channel name below, subscribe if you're new, and check out all the different Walking Dead videos that we did in the last day or two, like 5 or 6 of them. So really exciting to see The Walking Dead being back on again, guys. Just really, really feeling it right now. Not everybody is, though, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I felt like this was a super important scene in the premiere. Just one that's, you know, it's very important. It's something to where it really reflects on the series as a whole, and we'll probably start to see a lot more of this as time goes on. Michonne kind of letting Carl know, as well as the audience, that this is your show. Now, of course, she's referring to kind of Alexandria, and this is your thing. She'll help him defend the place, but it's more than that. It's kind of like an Easter egg, I suppose, or it's something that you can take as meaning like the show is not breaking the fourth wall, but it's kind of meta, right? In that it kind of, for us, I would suppose, is kind of confirmation, or you could view it this way, is the way I like it, that The Walking Dead really is Carl's show. So you see Rick, of course, Rick is, fighting from the very beginning up until now. Carl's growing up, but eventually, probably in a few years, in the teens of seasons, when The Walking Dead gets into the teens, eventually Carl's going to take over as kind of our lead, I would assume. And this was just a really cool kind of Easter egg that kind of sort of confirms, in a way, at least that's the way I read it, that's the way I took it, that this is in fact Carl's show and not really Rick's show. Of course, it focuses on Rick right now, but eventually Carl will take over. So write your comments about that below, guys, and how you see. I know a lot of you will scream and cry bloody murder if they kill Rick off, and then Carl is kind of the lead. A lot of people wouldn't like that right now. But give it a few seasons, give it 3 or 4 seasons. Maybe people will feel differently. So write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about whose show this really is. Is it Rick's? Is it Carl's? And you could be right if it's Rick's too. Like, what if they killed Rick off eventually and then it didn't work? Afterwards, the ratings plummeted and then they canceled it or something. So, only time will tell, I suppose, whose show it truly is. But I thought that was kind of a neat scene and kind of a nice nod to the audience. We have one from Cory Jordan who says, do you think further exploration of the future scene during the first festival will show Alpha's introduction, so for the Whisperers? So there is a part in the comics later on where something important happens between the Whisperers and our survivors during a festival or carnival, this kind of thing that they're having in Alexandria. And man, that's going to be exciting when they actually adapt some of those sequences into the TV series version for the Whisperers. That's going to be really, really exciting. Yeah, I like that one, Cory. I don't know if they probably wouldn't show her, but it could be one of these scenes. Like, would it be the very first fair? Is that festival kind of set up right there, and then later on when we get there, maybe we will see Alpha show up to that very same fair? I don't think so. I think it's probably one of the future years ahead still, because there's some time in between there that I think could be spaced out a bit. But it's not a bad question. It's not a bad thing to kind of start thinking about is when they're going to start to trickle in some Whisperer stuff near the end of the season, probably. Kattegat H says, guys, I feel let down. I expected a lot more from the 100th episode, but whatever. I guess next week will be better, right? Question mark, question mark. What was that, Siddiq? No way. And then also Supreme said, here we have people complaining about an underwhelming 100th episode. Also people saying that it was overhyped, but just because the Walking Dead crew was praising the show for making it this far and the fans for contributing doesn't mean they were saying this episode was going to go over the top. People let themselves down. So I see this a lot right now for sure. Pricky Head said, I don't get why everyone hates this episode. I thought it was epic. So is the thing, right? So, and I've seen there's tons of comments like this, hundreds of comments coming in today, probably maybe even thousands, but at least 100 or 200 in this channel alone for people just not liking the premiere. And that's the thing. And, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. I think there are some things that contributed. Objectively, I'll just kind of point a few things, theory, I suppose, as to why people may not have liked it. Or, criticisms for it. Because there are some, reviewers online, Forbes, and other people online that got to see this early. And I read one of their reviews for you guys in the video where they said it was kind of a mess or a disaster. So here's the thing. First of all, the trailer is very revealing for this season. So the Season 8 trailer was quite revealing for what we were going to see. Once you break that trailer down, you get into the scenes, you look at all the details, you watch YouTube videos on people who do that, for example, such as myself or others, you start to get to see all these different things, and so you start to get an idea of what you're looking at. Then you add to the fact that a lot of those scenes were kind of shown. Some of the best scenes were shown from this episode. You add to the fact that they've been doing commercials for 2 months with all the speeches. So at this point, probably all of us who watch AMC are just heard these commercials like 100 times over, 50 times over. We're just tired of hearing the speeches at this point. So there's so much stuff that they had kind of promoted. The first 3 minutes were leaked. The sneak peek with Siddiq and Carl was released online. So you have so many of these clips. The future Rick scene was released in the trailer. There was so many things that were shown from this premiere that you really got a good understanding of where they were going with it before you even saw the premiere. So when you actually get to see it, there's a few things in there like the Rick and Negan talk scene where he compares their dick sizes and stuff. That's pretty funny. So there's some really good stuff in there with the gunfights and stuff like that. But also you don't get to see any huge character deaths as well too, like you did in the Season 7 premiere. So there's a lot of things there. We've seen, huge zombie herds before. We've had No Way Out. We've had all these different events. We've seen Daryl do that kind of stuff before, lead zombies away and this kind of thing. So I think it's just, I would say, a combination of all those things, adding in a ton of scenes in the premiere, and then the very fact that sometimes we forget that really it's just a TV show. That's the thing. Like it's a 1 hour or maybe an hour and 5 or 10 minutes block TV series, and really it goes by pretty quick. It's 40-something minutes. Some of that slow time with speeches and stuff that you've already seen. So maybe out of the 42 minutes, you may have already seen like either half of it or, like a quarter of it already before it even airs. You may have an understanding of the rest of probably what's going to happen. And all in all, you just have a really good understanding of what they're going to do. So when they actually do it, it's like you didn't get to see as much new as you wanted. I was most disappointed it was over because I just wanted more, But the thing is that think of it objectively from their perspective, how hard it must have been to put something like this together in a regular weekly TV series episode. I mean, compare it to some of the other shows you watch on NBC, like the procedural crime dramas. Compare it to these cookie-cutter shows where they just pump out episodes, but really, they don't have to do a whole lot to do them. This was a pretty big episode. They did some epic stuff. They had some things that, okay, maybe it didn't add up. Maybe the speed of the zombies was too fast. Maybe Rick probably could have, shot Negan there and killed Negan right at that moment. So you can see it. But the thing is too, we do hype the crap out of it. And at the end of the day, it's just one episode of a show. And you can't even compare it to shows like some people compare it to Game of Thrones and stuff like that. You can't even do that because Game of Thrones is 1 hour blocks, sometimes an hour and 10 minutes. So you're looking at 60 or 70 minutes versus, 45, 46, or 47. Or, maybe just people just generally didn't like kind of the action feel, and everything else just kind of annoyed them, and all the scenes being so choppy and cut up annoyed them too. So there's lots of possibilities for sure. When I do my reviews and reactions as well too, I do them honestly with you guys. Of course, I love this series. It's my favorite series of all time. That's why I make so many videos on it. If I didn't like it, I'd do something else. I'd probably make Game of Thrones videos all year or something if you know, that was my favorite. So for me, you know, it is my favorite series. I appreciate what they're doing. I see what they're doing. I see the scale of it, and I just think to myself, like, you know, this isn't a movie, and we shouldn't rate it at the same scale as a movie, right? Because even though they say, well, we're doing a movie every week, well, movies are not 42 minutes or 45, 46, or 47 minutes. Movies have a lot longer to film. With the Walking Dead series, they only have like a certain amount of weeks to get that done. To get all these clips done, I'm pretty sure I saw in articles that they had to actually do filming in different times and then splice it into the premiere. So they were actually filming the premiere a few episodes in, probably a month later, and then they would bring it in because there was just so much, it was so ambitious, there was so many different things happening in it that, you know, it didn't all, they couldn't get it all done in time, I suppose. So I think they went about as big as they could in terms of what they can do, but then it comes a question of, you know, is it original enough? We've seen a lot of Walking Dead over the season, so does it feel original still? You know, and there's no big character deaths. So, yeah, you know, I hear you guys. I hear what you're saying for sure. But I definitely enjoy it and appreciate it. And I try to check myself at the door, which is that it is a TV series. It's one episode. It's 40 whatever minutes. And, you know, if you compare it to these other crime drama series out there, these other drama series, they are doing a lot with it, and you know, it must cost a lot. It must be big budget. It must be really a lot of explosions. All this stuff is hard to do. So I feel like they brought it as probably about as best as they can. I don't know if we're going to see a battle that's bigger than this one, except for maybe the final battle between Rick and Negan, which will probably be near the end of the season. But aside from that, this might be the biggest battle we get, as much as they can do in a TV series. Maybe, you know, it may be about as big as it can get for a TV series versus a movie, which, of course, in a movie, you're going to be able to do a lot bigger. But I agree with Pricky Head here. I did enjoy it for what it was, and I try to keep myself in check and understand that even though we get super excited sometimes, it's not my favorite premiere ever. My favorite premiere would probably be either season 5 or season 7. You know, season 7 premiere, a day will come when you won't be. The Double Death, that was probably the most excited I've ever been for a single episode ever. And I definitely, after watching that, was not let down at all. That was definitely one that was like, oh my God, that was so scary, so brutal, and just, so maybe the best thing The Walking Dead does is horror. Maybe The Walking Dead does horror better than action. You know, some good questions, but definitely write the comments below. Let me know where you guys are at with this, and there's no right or wrong answer. This is kind of a subjective question, which is how you felt about the episode, how much you enjoyed it or didn't, right? And you know, again, there's no right or wrong. It's up to each of us to formulate our own opinion. That's up to us, right? So, David Carter says, another point, how fast are walkers these days to keep up with Daryl on his bike? I know he was blowing up things along the way, but you weren't going slow, and they were right behind him all the way. Get some of those walkers in the Walker Olympics. So that was funny. And that was definitely something that I definitely noticed. And because especially part of the episode, you see the sanctuary far off in the distance, and you think to yourself, like, it's probably going to take those zombies 2 days to get there, or at least a day to get there. You can try to explain it maybe and say that the explosions rile them up and get them moving faster, like Morgan said. But at the same time, it did feel generally like they were going too fast. But hey, if we're going to complain about that they did too much in one episode, it's kind of like, I don't know, you know, it's like it's too fast paced or something. It's kind of like, it's like we complain that things are too slow, but then when they go fast, we complain they're too, you know. See, that's the thing. I don't want to complain too much and be like, you know, be like that, because it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah. Great Till Death said, I can't believe they went to the sanctuary before taking out the garbage crew. And so that's a good one, because the garbage crew is big. There's a lot of members of it. So this will be the last one for this one. So I think they'll show up in a few episodes. I think they're going to kind of come out of nowhere, and Rick and the others are going to be like, oh, damn it, we forgot about them. Because that's one thing that, you know, Negan and the Saviors have. If the Junkyard people are still loyal to them, then Rick and the others are, outnumbered by like, at least double. Because one thing about the Garbage Crew is that we saw last season, they have so many people. They have so much in the way of numbers. It's crazy. So they may even have more numbers than the Saviors do. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But it looks like they have just so many. They have more than anybody probably. So you have this kind of sleeping giant that's in there, hidden in the junkyard. Sleeping giant sleeping in trash that all of a sudden could really come out. Now they don't seem to have a lot in the way of weaponry, but they have some, and they have the numbers. So it's definitely something that I expect to see pretty soon come into the fray, because it's almost as if Rick and the others have kind of ignored them, forgot about them, or assume they'll stay out of it, which you might think that they would. But we're going to have to see, man. We're definitely going to have to see. But I don't know if it'd be the right decision to attack the Junkyard Group before you attack the Saviors, because they might weaken you so much to where you got to fight the Saviors after, and you can't. This might be better if you're able to take out Negan and the Saviors first. The plan makes sense, is what I'm saying, to go after Negan and the Saviors first before the Junkyard Group, and then hope the Junkyard Group afterwards doesn't come after you as a result. So yeah, that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. Write the comments below. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the Season 8 premiere and, the Carl and Michonne stuff, as well as all the other questions we answered here. Any problems you have with the premiere, again, it's subjective, so, we're not going to get our feelings hurt here. Go ahead. But I would say as well, too, that I think we have to see it from their perspective as well, too, and how hard they must have worked to put together such a big episode, considering it is only a single episode of the show. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. We'll see you back again tomorrow for another. Send me your questions in the comments below for tomorrow's Q&A, so we can do another one. If you like this one, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, put on your subscribing pants at the bottom. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.